It was the middle of a humid Wednesday afternoon when Daniel slouched deeper into the worn couch in his small apartment. The blinds were drawn, the light of his phone screen flickered against his tired eyes, and empty soda cans formed a miniature skyline on the coffee table. He was 23, jobless since college ended, and carrying a familiar thought he repeated every day. I'll start tomorrow. Maybe next week. Once I feel ready, Daniel wasn't lazy by nature, but he had fallen into the trap of waiting. He wanted to build a business, learn guitar, get in shape, and maybe even travel. But he convinced himself the right moment hadn't come yet. His inner voice constantly bargained, "You'll start when you've saved a bit more. When you feel motivated. When things are less stressful," and so days melted into weeks. Weeks blurred into months. One evening, Daniel scrolled past a video clip of a man around his own age running a small online shop. The guy spoke with confidence about how he had started from nothing, with no perfect timing, just action. Something inside Daniel stirred, not quite inspiration, but discomfort. If he can do it, why can't I? What am I even waiting for? That night, Daniel lay awake staring at the ceiling. The thought wouldn't leave him alone. For the first time in a long time, he felt that maybe he had been lying to himself about this perfect moment. The next morning, with no plan and no idea where to start, Daniel scribbled on a scrap of paper. Today. Not tomorrow. Do something. It wasn't much, but it was his first step across the threshold of change. Life has a way of presenting mentors when we need them most. For Daniel, it was Mr. Alvarez, the old neighbor who ran a small bookstore downstairs. Daniel often passed by without stopping, but this time he noticed Alvarez unloading boxes alone. Acting on impulse, Daniel helped him carry them inside. As they stacked the books, Mr. Alvarez asked casually, "So, Daniel, what are you doing these days?" Daniel hesitated. "Honestly, nothing. Just waiting until I feel ready to start something." Alvarez chuckled warmly. "My boy, if I had waited for the right time, this shop would never exist. When I started, I had no money, no customers, and no idea what I was doing. But I opened the door anyway. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You make the moment perfect by acting." Those words hit Daniel like a spark. The mentor had spoken, and the message was clear. Action first, clarity later. That night, Daniel made a decision. He had always dreamed of starting an online business selling custom t-shirts. He didn't know about printing, marketing, or design. But instead of overthinking, he took a small leap. He registered a free account on a print-on-demand platform and uploaded a simple design he sketched with a marker. It was clumsy. The design looked amateur. But for the first time, Daniel wasn't waiting. He was doing. The road wasn't smooth. His first few designs got no sales. He felt embarrassed when friends laughed at the crooked lettering. Some nights, he questioned whether this action was even worth it. The old voice returned. Maybe you should wait until you've studied more. Maybe pause until you feel ready again. But this time, Daniel recognized the trap. He remembered Alvarez's words and his own note. Today. Not tomorrow, so he pushed on. He read articles late at night. He sketched new designs every morning, even when he didn't feel creative. He made mistakes, but each mistake taught him something new. Slowly, results began to appear. One morning, he woke up to a notification. Congratulations. You made your first sale. It wasn't much, just $7 profit. But Daniel felt like he had won a marathon. Just as things seemed to improve, Daniel hit his hardest challenge. After a few small successes, sales dropped to zero for weeks. His motivation cracked. He wondered if his effort was pointless, if he was destined to sink back into his old habits. For 3 days straight, he didn't touch his designs. The couch called him back. The comfort of waiting whispered in his ears again. On the 4th day, Alvarez knocked on his door. "Haven't seen you around." "Everything okay?" Daniel sighed. "I think I started too soon. Maybe I wasn't ready after all." Alvarez shook his head. "Do you know the difference between you now and you months ago? Back then, you had nothing but excuses. Now, you have progress. Struggles mean you're moving. Waiting means you're stuck. Which would you rather be?" The words reignited Daniel's fire. He realized the abyss wasn't failure. It was the test to see if he truly believed in action. From that point, Daniel stopped chasing motivation and started building discipline. He created a schedule, one design every day, no matter how tired he felt. He joined online communities, shared his journey, and learned from others. Months passed, and his persistence bore fruit. Orders trickled in steadily. Then, one of his designs, an inspiring quote about taking action, went viral. Suddenly, his small shop transformed into a real business. Daniel had crossed from dreamer to doer, from waiting to creating. 1 year later, Daniel stood inside Alvarez's bookstore with a box of his own t-shirts. The front read, "Stop waiting. Start now." He handed one to Alvarez with a grateful smile. "I wouldn't be here if you hadn't pushed me." Alvarez laughed. "I didn't push you. You decided." Remember that Daniel knew he was right. The journey had been his all along. The lesson was simple yet powerful. The perfect moment never comes. Action creates the moment. Life won't hand you an ideal time, free of fear or uncertainty. If you keep waiting, you'll wait forever. Progress begins the second you take action. Clumsy, imperfect, small action. That's what transforms dreams into reality. So don't wait for Monday or for the new year, or for confidence to magically appear. The right moment is not out there somewhere. It's here, now, in your hands. Stop waiting for the right moment. Start creating it.